Hi there, this is Jeff, and I'm going to show you how to get the artwork ready for the 60-inch wide Silver Step retractable banner stand. And to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the template and I'm going to drag the PDF template right into Photoshop. And before it opens, it asks me a couple questions. And the first thing is the crop to. We want this to be set at media box, and then for the resolution, we want this to be set at 125 dpi. And for the color mode, you're going to want to select CMYK. If for some reason it's set on RGB, go ahead and switch that over, because you really do want to create the artboard in CMYK mode because it does get printed out in 4-color. And then go ahead and click OK when you're done there. Now this is actually pulling open the full-size template. And this is going to be what you're wanting to use to actually create and design your artwork. And what I recommend is actually designing right on top of this template. And you can do that by adding in your elements, by going to File and Place. And you can browse your computer and drop in your logos and your pictures and everything else. Just keep the template as its own separate layer on the right-hand side. And that's because when we're all done, we're either going to hide it or delete it and just be left with the finished artwork. But if you design right on top of this, you know that the proportions are going to be correct, the sizing is correct, position, everything else. So as you look at the template here, you're going to notice a couple things. One is that the colors are different here. So this light blue actually represents the minimum banner height that this particular banner stand will accept. So it says minimum 60 inches wide and 69 inches tall. Okay, so from the bottom here to this line is going to be the minimum height that you can design. What I recommend is actually designing for the full height, which is 92. So designing from the bottom all the way to the very top here. And that's going to give you the full size maximum height that this banner stand can do. Now, one thing about this particular model is that it's actually adjustable in the back. So the pole that holds the banner up actually is adjustable anywhere from the top here down to the minimum height here. You can actually adjust it. So go ahead and design for the full height if you want, and that way you can always go down, but if you adjust it or if you create it for the minimum, you can't go up. All right. And then as far as when you're designing, make sure to leave at least an inch or two away from the top and also the sides as well. So if you're adding in your text, just make sure to keep all that important information like logos or text at least a couple inches away from the edges all the way around. Now for the background, let's say you have a camouflage background, go ahead and extend that to the very outer edges, okay? But any important information like text or logos, just keep it a couple inches away from the edges. Okay, so what I want to do now is actually show you an example of some artwork that fits the template really well, and I'll show you that right now. All right, so here is an example of some artwork that fits the template really nicely, and I know that because if I go over to the artwork layer and I right-click on it and I go to blending options, I can actually move the opacity down and it will reveal that the template is right underneath it. So this is really helpful. This will show you how everything is laid out according to the template. So once you know everything is good, you can go ahead and cancel out of there. And next thing we want to do is inspect the images and the logos and everything else to make sure that nothing is pixelated and that everything is good quality or high resolution. And the way that you do that is on a PC by pressing Control and plus, or if you're using a Mac, press Command and plus, and zoom all the way in until about 1 inch equals 1 inch on the ruler bar. So you can go to File or View here and make sure that Rulers is selected, and then you can actually see, okay, here's 28 inches, here's 29 inches. That's about 1 inch in real life on my screen, and that gives me a really accurate representation of what this is going to look like once it gets printed out. Now you can take the Navigator tool by going to Window and then Navigator, and you can actually zoom all the way around, and you can just make sure that nothing is pixelated, everything looks good, nice quality. And once you've confirmed that, go ahead and press Control and minus or Command and minus on a Mac, and then zoom all the way back out. So at this point, what you're ready to do is go ahead and delete that template layer or hide it. And what I usually do is I just click on the template layer and I will just drag it and delete it. So now you're just left with your final artwork. And what you want to do before saving it is you want to go ahead and flatten it. And this is going to do a couple things. It's going to make it a more manageable file to upload, and it's also going to lock everything in place. So if you use certain fonts that are on your computer, maybe I don't have them on my computer, and it can create a bit of a problem. So we just really want that one finished file that's flattened. And the way that you do that is by going to Layer and then click Flatten Image. And that's just going to compress everything all together. It's going to be your full-size artwork, and this is going to be the file that you want to save and then upload. One quick thing though, before you do flatten it, make sure to save a copy of your working layered file. This is going to be so that you can revert back to it in case you need to make any changes. So you want to do that before you flatten it. Okay, so once you've gone ahead and taken those steps, you've saved a copy of your working layered file, and then you went ahead and you deleted the template layer and then flattened it, you're ready to go ahead and save it. And the way that you do that is by going to File and then click Save As, and then you want to save it as a high quality PDF. That's usually a really good file type for printing these out, and just make sure that it's a high quality PDF. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll be happy to help. Just click the link below. Thanks.